Guys on Sactown Sports.
We've got Kyle Draper in Atlanta with the Kings. Kings taking on the Hawks tomorrow night, and right now nice enough to join us as he does every week during the NBA season. And we're thrilled about that. All-time Kings icon. Where do you start, Jay? When you tell people about Jerry Reynolds, where do you start? Coach, broadcaster?
I just always say
GM?
Legend. I let them figure out the rest of it.
That's it. That says it. That says it all. Jerry Reynolds with us. Jerry,
handing out candy too, unlike Mr. Gleason probably.
Wait, Jerry, are you passing out candy tonight on Halloween?
I will not be doing that. Mrs. Reynolds does that because a couple things. I'm a longtime diabetic, and I crave candy, and I wouldn't give any of it away. So
that would not be good.
Pushes me to the. I said, go back and we'll find something to watch and stay out of the way. And so it works good.
It's a good system. Yeah.
Good system.
How about DeMar fitting in with the offense? How is that working out so far?
Well, I think terrific. I just love his game. Now seems like they're getting more comfortable finding them with some post-ups and little mid-range stuff. I mean, the guy obviously is just a big-time scorer, but can do it without being too hungry. And, he's everything you would hoped, I think, and it's fit in beautifully.
Hey, Jerry, the record stands at 2-2. To think how you've played through all four games as a whole. How do you think they've looked so far?
Well, I think the starters have looked pretty good. The bench has been really disappointing to me. I don't know how you'd feel, but I mean, there's reasons for it. Trey Lyles just hadn't been himself yet, and they're a pretty thin bench. So that, to me, that's been maybe an issue that maybe has cost them a game here or there. I mean, the starters, it's pretty tough for Coach Brown. I mean, he really does need to play him 37, 40 minutes. And, you hope that gets worked out a little bit. But, really surprised with Herter's play. I mean, gosh, just to come in with no preseason or anything, and he looks like a red velvet from a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jer, it also seems to me anyway that Kevin Huerter, in addition to shooting the ball well again, he's playing about as well-rounded a game as we've seen him play in terms of getting into the passing lanes and even rebounding a little bit.
Yeah, he's to me, he's always been a surprisingly good rebounder, and and I think I think Coach Brown has really done a nice job. He's gotten everybody really active. I mean, the defense, they're getting hands on balls, steals. De'Aaron is really creating some problems defensively. So they're, like I say, the starting unit seems pretty darn good to me.
Jerry, you know what it's like to be a coach. You've been there before. Mike Brown is still trying to figure out the rotations. He didn't play Keon Ellis against the Lakers on Saturday. Can you just speak to the challenges a coach may have trying to find minutes? And looks like Mike has found minutes for Keon ever since then. What did you make of all that?
Yeah, I just always kind of wondered a little bit, and I would support Coach Brown regardless, but it may have been a little you never know with the coaches, and I've done it, and I know every coach has done it. Sometimes it may be a little issue that a learning moment might be involved. You never know. Not that he didn't play. I mean, it's not like a coach wants to talk about that, but I think with Keon, he's a terrific role player, but it's a role, and so you maybe it's just say, Keon, you're going to have to adjust to this different role a little different, which certainly the other night he did, and so anyway, yeah, it's there's 240 minutes, and you can't. Basically, it's not Little League. Everybody doesn't get to play 3 innings. So you got to play your best players where you can, and then guys that are 6th, 7th, 8th men, they've got to find a niche and settle into it and find a way to be valuable.
Mm-hmm. Jerry, I know that you've been saying for at least the last couple of years that you'd like to see the Kings playing more zone. They played some zone against the Jazz, and Luke Laux apparently has put some wrinkles in terms of more pressure on the ball. But have you seen anything that you can comment on one way or the other so far on the way the Kings are defending in terms of playing the zone?
Well, I do think it's a work in progress. I mean, I think I don't think it's a finished product by any stretch because they're definitely giving up too many open threes. But I like it. I mean, I think it's a good tempo change, and I just want to hope they stay with it. And like you say, once the zone really is, the guy's got to get comfortable in it, got to know the rules. And that may take a little time before you see the finished product, but I think it makes perfect sense. You just can't go out there and not show teams some different looks during the course of a game.
Hey, Jerry, when I look at the Kings this year, their 3-point numbers are down in terms of attempts, and obviously that's because of the addition of DeMar DeRozan. We knew that might go down. When you look at the 3-ball in today's NBA, do you have to be among the league leaders in attempts? It seems like the motto now is let it fly, get them up as many as you can. Is there still room for a team not to be 3-point oriented in today's NBA?
Well, I think you've got to shoot threes, but I mean, to me, if you're getting 30 good 3-point shots, that should be plenty. If you're hitting a percentage of them, I think the key is make sure they're good shots. But you can win with high percentage, twos mixed in there and getting to the line. And I think that's always been the part that's been missed a little bit when you're putting up 53s and not getting to the line and maybe not hitting your threes. That is the big problem. But you got, and I don't know quite why this team isn't making their threes or not shooting as many, but got some good shooters. I think that'll come around. I mean, there's, with Fox and Keegan, I mean, they're going to make those shots.
Mm-hmm. Jerry, I'm not sure. I was asking Kyle about this earlier. There's something I'm seeing offensively, and I'm not sure if it's actually there or if I'm projecting, but it seems to me, well, we knew that DeRozan was going to take some of the shots, that shot distribution would be affected. But it looks to me like Domas and maybe even Herter, they're taking fewer shots, but they're getting better shots. Is that part of what's going on here with DeMar DeRozan as part of the offense?
I think it is. I mean, he draws a lot of attention, and, he's good off the bounce. So really help defense usually gets involved, and that opens up some opportunities. And as you said, especially Domas, I don't know how he could be any more productive.
I know.
My God, that's a guy just remarkable. I mean, and I don't know that you want to count on 25 points a game from him. I don't think he'd even want to do that, but anyway, yeah, I think DeRozan has created. You got two guys with DeRozan and Fox in particular that are going to basically draw help about every time they have the ball, mm-hmm. and that creates some open opportunities.
The great Jerry Reynolds joining us. Jerry, what's happening around the league? I'm looking at a team like Denver that's scuffling a little bit. Then I look at OKC that's rolling over everybody. When will we get a good idea? Is there a certain mark in the season, 20 games, 15 games, 30 games, where teams settle into who they actually are?
I think at 10 you'll get a little bit of an idea, but probably at the 20-game mark you'll know who you are. I mean, not to say injuries can't change everything. We all know that, but I think with especially more or less veteran teams that have been together a couple of years, like the Kings, like Oklahoma City, Dallas, pretty much, you'll get a pretty good idea. And I agree with you on Denver. They're just not quite the same team. They don't have the depth that they had, and they've lost some key guys that haven't been replaced. Doesn't mean it won't be good, but it's hard to see them as a contender.
Mm-hmm. Jerry, as a longtime coach, how nice is it for you? How gratifying is it to see the Kings getting to the free throw line and actually making free throws this year?
Yeah, that's an interesting concept, isn't it? You know, instead of watching the other team do it, you get to do it yourself. I just, yeah, that's nice. And I mean, I'm not particularly surprised because DeRozan's been doing that forever. But it probably helps the team in not just what he does, but it's helping some other guys. But yeah, they're called free throws and they're 3 points. Supposedly, they just haven't been last year as much as they should have been.
Right. Yeah.
Jerry Reynolds joining us. Jerry, you mentioned the bench. What about the front court? We've seen them try to go. I don't think it's worked that well so far. I mean, if this team is really going to challenge in the West, does a move need to be made? Do we need some bigger bodies?
I sure think so, Kyle. I mean, I'm not, I'd love them to win however they need to, but it just seems like they're too small. Now, of course, for me, I probably like yourself, I wanted to see Orlando Robinson just to see what he could. It's not his fault, of course, but maybe he could provide some of what they need. But we just don't know, and I think it's going to be tough. I wouldn't mind seeing them experiment a little bit with Lynn and maybe Domas at times, because Domas can make the three now, and he's certainly more comfortable shooting a little bit of a perimeter shot, especially a corner shot. I think you might get by with that to some degree, but I don't think it really solves the major problem. I think this team could use another big, lively body.
Jerry, we'll let you go on this one, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it is Halloween, so it was on this date, 2009, 14 years ago today, and I was at a wedding somewhere, so I didn't see this game, so I'm not sure you were there. I assume you were. The day against the Spurs when Manu Ginobili grabbed a bat that flew onto the court during the game in San Antonio. Do you recall that wonderful moment?
I sure do. I was there. Yeah. I was there on the front row. Back in those days, with broadcast teams got to be on the front row, Kyle.
The good old days. The good old days.
But, Manu, of course, didn't surprise anybody. Great hands, good defender, and took the bat out of the air. Knocked the bat out of the air. That was something. And I guess he had to get tetanus shots and everything after that. If he'd have known that, he might have let the bat go.
Yeah, yeah. You weren't on the table trying to swat it down yourself?
I was not. I was kind of hoping Grant would step up big and go after it, but I didn't notice that either. There wasn't a lot of courage showing there on the desk, I can tell you.
Well, happy Halloween. We appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you soon, Jerry. Thank you.
Talk to you soon, guys. Enjoy the show as always.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right, now.
Yeah. How about that when the broadcasters were right there on the floor? Kyle.
I tell you what, we're in Atlanta. Tomorrow's game, it's almost the worst in the league because
really?
The fans are you're up on the concourse level. The fans are walking behind you as you're. I mean, it's and there's no bathroom, so you gotta halftime. My guy Dominique, and I'm gonna get Dominique's number because we're gonna have him on the show this season. Dominique sits 3 steps down from me, and usually at halftime, he'll be like, all right, Kyle, let's run to the bathroom. He gets a police escort to a private bathroom. So I usually tag along with him. That's Dominique, man.
That is something.
And let me ask you this, too, fellas, real quick here. I'm going to buy a Hawks Dominique jersey and get it signed. I got to, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Dominique.
Sure.
I got to do that. I'm going to be a fan with Dominique tomorrow. I'm going to ask him to sign it for me tomorrow.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We'd be ashamed of you if you didn't do that. Yeah.
I'll bring it back next week. Bring it back.
Yeah. Speaking of Halloween, I'm wondering if you and Jay are ready for a Whitey's Wayback Machine quiz.
Ooh, a little early. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. We got that coming up. Also got a chance for you to win ludicrous tickets coming up with the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.